It's Flag Day across the country. It's also a beautiful night for baseball here in St. Louis. Interleague play rolls on, and tonight from Busch Stadium, Game 3 between the AL Central Chicago White Sox and the NL Central defending world champion St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to Cardinals Baseball with Al Hrabosky, the Mad Hungarian. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Boy, what a night for pitching in the National League last night. Let's take a look at what R.A. Dickey was able to do. Well, just one hit allowed for the Mets. Meanwhile, late on the West Coast, Matt Cain making baseball history, the 22nd perfect game ever in baseball history. But here at Busch Stadium, it was all about the starter, Lance Lynn.
It was. Lance Lynn picked up his 10th victory. That ties him with Dickey for the league lead. He set a new career high in strikeouts with 12. 7 1/3 dominant, powerful innings by Lance Lynn, and a good effort from his bullpen.
We're looking forward to this one tonight as we take a look at home runs and what they mean. Prostate cancer research. Baseball just around the corner. Last night, and in this ball game, we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every home run in the game hit by either team raises $15,000. You can make a pledge by calling 800-798-CURE. That's 800-798-2873, or going online to pcf.org. Team captain Paul Konerko almost named player manager a season ago. Will we ever see another player manager in baseball? Who knows? With more on that, here's Jim Hayes.
Every baseball team, past and present, has had a manager. Some managers maintained a controlled demeanor, quietly strategizing and orchestrating their team to victory. Others did not.
John, you got to use your judgment on it.
I understand.
Who's deceiving?
My runners, they got to go on one or the other. You have your hands on.
Some managers looked good in their team's uniform. Others did not. In early baseball history, it was not uncommon for players to serve as manager. Sometimes to save money, other times because it just made sense. From John Clapp in 1872 to Pete Rose in 1986, there have been 221 player managers, 59 of whom are in the Hall of Fame. The Cardinals have had a few, including Miller Huggins, Kid Nichols, Frankie Frisch, Rogers Hornsby, and Billy Southworth. But of the 221 player managers in baseball history, only 6 have served in the past 50 years, the last being Pete Rose from 1984 to 1986. It has, however, recently been considered. The Blue Jays toyed with the idea of naming Paul Molitor player-manager in 1997. Barry Larkin said the idea was interesting when approached by the Reds in 2000. And as recently as last year, Paul Konerko was considered a qualified candidate until White Sox GM Kenny Williams went with Robin Ventura. Could a player-manager today also take on managerial responsibilities, juggling lineups, and handling a specialized bullpen while playing the field? Could a player-manager deal with today's lengthy and intense post-game press conferences? Could a player-manager wade through mountains of sabermetrics while worrying about his next at-bat? Old-school guys like Frankie Frisch and the Raja would be sorely tested by today's managerial demands. It very well could be we will never again see a player-manager in baseball. But it would be fun.
You do it again, and I'll knock you right in your nose. I didn't touch you. You pushed your hand.
Sox. So far, the Interleague Series split at 1 apiece. Alan Craig will play right field in the starting lineup for St. Louis. Jason Mott's pumped up because baseball is next. Bud Light line. Summer is calling. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. We're expecting over 40,000 through the turnstiles tonight here at Busch Stadium as we wrap up our series with the White Sox. Kansas City will be in town tomorrow. And the White Sox have been one of the hottest teams in baseball. Diaza, Beckham, and Dunn here in the first inning. Then Konerko, Rios, Pierzynski, Alexi Ramirez, Hudson, and the pitcher Gavin Floyd. Cardinals need a good outing from 4-6 Jake Westbrook.
Well, they really do, and Jake has really struggled of late. It's been 5 weeks since a victory. He's lost 4 straight decisions. Still getting plenty of ground balls, third in the National League with a 2.5 to ground ball to fly ball ratio, and 72% of the time he puts the ball on the ground. You almost say, hey, throw things away. He hasn't pitched well against the White Sox for a long time. Just throw every single pitch, either a sinker or a changeup to get you off it. Just kind of change things around and change your luck maybe.
He knows the White Sox quite well from his time with the Cleveland Indians. And the first pitch, a strike to Diaza. It was claimed off of waivers a couple of years ago, and right now he is in the top 10 of hitting in the American League. Batting .308.
Jake Westbrook, as you said, knows the White Sox, but it's been a while since he's faced them. So June of 2010 while he was with Cleveland, and he last defeated them in 07. So they've had his number for a while also.
And you just hope the outing last night by Lance Lynn really jump-starts the rest of the rotation. Lance was absolutely dominant at times last night.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because a lot of times what happens, you give a friendly competition. One guy pitches a good game, then everyone feeds off of it. Hopefully the same for the bullpen.
He's averaging now close to 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. That pitch was up and hammered, but pulled foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Jake got a great April. Got off to the good start like everyone else in that rotation.
Here's a 1-2. Ground ball to second. Descalso there for the first out. Cardinals defensively, some key double plays last night. Some changes here for game number 3. Chambers in center, Descalso at second with Adams at first. Yadier Molina's behind the plate. That's brought to you by Dobbs.
You want to get as many left-handed bats in the lineup against White Sox pitcher, as lefties are hitting .319 against him, and righties are way down at the bottoms of 2s.
Cardinals are also without Carlos Beltran, at least in the starting lineup. And Beltran is dealing with a stomach virus. It was so bad last night that he was rushed to the emergency room in the hospital. The stomach virus, and not in the lineup tonight, but is available to pinch hit. Mike Matheny was telling me that he looks at Beltran as being a great example for his team, because here's a guy that barely even made it into the starting lineup, hits a home run, makes a diving catch midway through, and after he made that diving catch, he went down, Mike Matheny did, and said to his young guys, that's how you play the game. Find a way to get out there.
Also had 3 of the 4 hits the Cardinals had last night. So he was suffering from that virus that he contracted from his daughter, and could play last night, but a little too much tonight.
Gordon Beckham is hitting .233. 8 home runs. He's driven in 27. He has 1 hit in this series. He lines that foul. Beckham was the 8th overall pick back in 2008 from the University of Georgia. So a couple of guys from down south facing each other here. Westbrook, born and raised just near the campus of the University of Georgia in Athens. Fly ball into shallow center. Chambers for out number 2. One of the key plays And there were a bunch last night you can point to, but one of the key plays, the double play, turned off the bat of Adam Dunn, and all got started with Mark Zipchinski. We talked to him after the game, Al, and clearly a confidence builder for him.
No doubt about it. And it was a nice play by Descalzo that stopped that ball and was able from his knees to get the ball to second base to complete the double play. Dunn was not in the starting lineup last night. On his home run trot, he twisted his ankle in the game before.
Look at this. The shift was on and in shallow right field. Making the play, the second baseman, Descalzo. 1-2-3 inning for Westbrook. Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Holiday in the first. Allen Craig bats cleanup, followed by Freese and Molina, then Adams, Chambers, and Westbrook. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and right-hander Gavin Floyd gets the start for the Chicago White Sox.
Well, Gavin Floyd has kind of struggled of late, also a former #1 draft pick by the Philadelphia Phillies. Earlier in his career had maybe the best curveball in the American League, and he's kind of gotten away from that a little bit, particularly in his last game where he got beat. They say he threw 4 fastballs and gave up 2 home runs and 2 doubles, and that was pretty much what did him in.
Defense behind Floyd with Dunn, Diaza, and Rios in the outfield. This is brought to you by Dobbs. Same infield for the 3rd consecutive night here in St. Louis, and Pierzynski is behind the plate. Around the horn brought to you by Dobbs, and we saw Gavin Floyd warming up and working from the stretch as he was taking his warm-up tosses.
Just wonder if that may be because he used to be easy to steal on. Last year, 23 steals and 25 attempts. This year, he's much better. There's 2 steals and 6 attempts, but you got to get on base, and that's why Mike Matheny's loaded up with left-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters are hitting .319 against him. Righties .195. And we've been talking about it. Ralphie needs to get going.
0 for his last 19. Pair of strikeouts in that stretch.
That's a season high for him, the 0 for 19. And you just wonder if did it start on the road trip where he got 2 home runs and get happy hitting the ball in the air.
Average has dipped to .294. He's in the conversation of Cardinals that could be headed down I-70 and over to Kansas City. The All-Star game. Waves at that pitch in the dirt. Strikeout to Floyd. Our keys to the game presented by Toyota, and looking at the last 5, ERA over 10 for Gavin Floyd.
And all the home runs allowed. Bonus bang, 363. One thing I saw for Call, it almost looked halfway committed in his swings, but he was trying to hit down on the ball.
Look at Robin Ventura, the 44-year-old who replaced his former teammate Ozzie Guillen, let out of his contract to manage the Miami Marlins. Ventura, a great player in his own right as you get a look at Descalso. 0 for 3 in this series. Made a couple very fine plays last night at second base, and this pitch is popped up shallow left. They call him the Big Donkey, and that's Adam Dunn. 2 away.
You're second in baseball and home runs. You don't mind being called anything.
Nope. And it's all or nothing with Adam Dunn, as we've talked about the last 3 nights. And with interleague play, the American League team playing in the National League Park, Dunn has to play the field. So instead of putting him at first, where Konerko resides, got to find space in the outfield, and they put him out in left. Here's Holiday, 276. It's Kearns and Dunn and Griffey in the outfield for a number of years for the Reds. And so Adam Dunn is no stranger to playing the field with all his time with Cincinnati and also Washington.
It's kind of interesting, too, because I think a lot of people thought Kearns was going to be the more outstanding player. Both of them had terrific minor league numbers, and probably thought Kearns would hit for a higher average. And a lot of people thought he'd be comparable in power.
Really never worked out either for Ken Griffey Jr. in Cincinnati. If he stayed healthy, he put up numbers, but really outside of that first season never stayed healthy.
And his injuries were legit because he played the game hard, and so it was running into walls, diving for balls, being hit by pitches, different things that would injure him.
2-1, and Holiday bounces it to third. Orlando Hudson is there. 1-2-3 inning for Gavin Floyd. Konerko leads the league in hitting. Due up when we come back. Familiar with some of these names. Ozzie Guillen, Robin Ventura. We know about Mike Matheny. Bobby Valentine, one of those new names as well. And I say new name, but I mean, in saying that, a guy that has found himself a new home as Konerko grounds out. It's a good start here for Jake Westbrook. Another ground ball out. That's 3 of the first 4 ground ball outs. So Guillen part of that. Robin Ventura, Mike Matheny, Dale Swaim, and Bobby Valentine, the biggest of that list. And Ventura what he's done so far surprised a lot of people. 34-28.
This is a team, the White Sox, that were projected to be 5th in the AL Central, and they're playing above that. And it's good to see. They look like they got a nice little ball club.
How about Mike Matheny essentially publicly coming out and challenging his players yesterday? And I thought it was one of the biggest games of the year for the Cardinals as far as pulling out that win. And
I think how he challenged him was appropriate. And the timing was right, the way they had been playing, the way they're struggling defensively. Sometimes that's just lack of concentration. Obviously, you're going to go through offensive ruts, and the team is doing so. You know, the pitching staff is very capable, but a lot of guys have struggled.
Here's another ground ball out for Cowell. Fires low to Adams. 2 away. A great way to come to Busch Stadium is group tickets. That means 25 or more. You get a discount off the gate price in most of the seating areas here at the ballpark. Visit cardinals.com/groups.
And Dan, one of the things I really liked about what Mike Matheny did is he really kind of challenged the bench players to be more vocal, to make sure that, you know, guys aren't dragging when they come off the field. Pick up their spirits. You're not in the lineup, but you can show me that you want to be in that lineup, that you want to pull for your teammates.
Broken bat on a hop to second. Descalso is there. That's 6 up, 6 down to start the ball game. Alan Craig, you up first when we come back. This season. Subscribe to MLB.tv and you'll see every Cardinals out of market game live online and on your computer. MLB.tv, where baseball is everywhere. Flag Day, and glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Midwest. Jim Hayes, Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you.
And it's so easy in such a long season, 162 games, to just take a small portion of it and not say panic, but worry. And right now the Cardinals are kind of in that window, but we have faith in all these guys. You think Alan Craig's going to hit 176 like he has in this basically homestand with only 1 RBI? No, he's been an RBI machine. He's going to pick it up.
I asked Alan today, Al, about, and he hits a rope into right center, about his hands. And he'll trot in for a double to lead it off here in the bottom of the second. And he said, you know, so many people talk to him about his hands that actually start out with the bat pointed towards the pitcher. And he said throughout his career, minor leagues, college baseball, he's had different types of trigger mechanisms. And this just happens to be the one that he's using right now.
And it's not as pronounced as it first was when he showed up here. It's like a slider over the middle of the plate, up a little bit, and he hit it with authority out to right center. But, you know, they slowly have gotten him back a little bit. It starts there, and then it kind of comes back, and really he's starting more upright when the pitcher's delivering the pitch.
And he said that at times he's used his lower half as the trigger mechanism, maybe a toe tap, raising up the front leg, and he said it just happened I was having success with the way I'm doing it now with my hands, and if anything, with my swing and the way I go about things, I've got to get my hands going before anything else. There's a shot, right center. That ball will get down. Cardinals have the lead. David Freese will trot into second base. 1-0 on Freese's RBI double, his 41st ribby of the year.
Now that looks better. And now with Craig getting on base, getting a base hit, then having an RBI man, two of them back-to-back, drive him in. You know Beltran's not in the lineup. You know Berkman is still injured. Carpenter, Schumacher, all these different players. So you just don't feel sorry. You say, hey, I'm going to do it myself. And nice to see these two young, exquisite hitters doing the job. That's 4 straight games for Freese.
Slowly hit towards short. Ramirez gloves and throws and makes the play.
Productive out as a swinging bunt. Kind of gets over the head of the pitcher. Tough play for Ramirez, but he makes it. And an advancement by Freese.
Brings in Matt Adams, one of those lefties in this lineup for Mike Matheny tonight. And Adams having to make the adjustment at this level, and also making the adjustment of not playing every day.
That's probably the biggest adjustment. And you know, when you've been minor league player of the year, the Texas League player of the year last year, you're hitting 340, just driving in a ton of runs, and now you come to the big leagues and you don't play every day. It's a new experience. And he's found that, you know, making contact has become a little more troublesome. Fouled that one off his foot. He did get his first pinch hit, base hit, and a productive one, driving in 2. That was on Friday night against Cleveland.
Runner at third base, David Freese. Infield is drawn in for Adams. Outfield is deep and straight away. Interesting that Robin Ventura this early in the game, where you think you might be able to get to Jake Westbrook based on his numbers lately, bringing in his infield this early on.
Well, you're always inviting the big in when you do so, and I think particularly when you got a power hitter at the plate. Of course, they don't know much about him. And you expect him, if he hits it, he's going to be hit hard.
They say he went, and Adams a bit surprised at that. Strikeout, second of the night for Gavin Floyd. And there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the second.
Chris Guccione did not endear himself to the Cardinal fans. And that was what Gavin Floyd was looking for, was a strikeout. And he can be a strikeout pitcher. He can rack them up. It's also part of the order where there's very little experience, and here they're going to intentionally pass Chambers and bring up Westbrook. As I said, lefties are batting .319 against Gavin Floyd, and righties were .195, but it was the 2 right-handed batters, Craig and Freese, that produced the first run.
See the Kansas City Royals in town tomorrow night. We'll have the broadcast for you at 6:30, and all the eyes of the baseball world will be on Kansas City. And the All-Star Game, July 10th, only on Fox. Keep updating you on those top vote getters. Carlos Beltran for St. Louis, but there's a fight at third base with David Freese. You've got for Cal not too far back of Troy Tulowitzki. Buster Posey is leading Yadier Molina. You have a chance to vote until the 25th of June and up to 25 times at MLB.com.
And I believe this is, well, it's the last, Sunday's the last game of the homestand, but it'll be the last time you can vote here at the ballpark. It'll be Sunday, so let's don't forget our Cardinals.
2 outs and 2 on.
Dan, I know you are a big believer in always walking that 8th place hitter.
I am.
And I know you are.
I am.
But I got to tell you, as a pitcher, you have to believe you can dominate every 8th place hitter. And it's sort of a habit that you can get into, and then what happens that time when you have to get the bases are loaded, you have to get in an 8th place hitter and out. You've kind of, your manager's kind of told you you're incapable of doing so.
I'd also would do it and have trust that, for instance, if Gavin Floyd was my pitcher, that we wouldn't go 2-0 on Westbrook. I need some strikes. I would lead the league in intentional walks. There's no doubt.
And especially when you were pitching against Albert. 3-0.
Wow.
Now he gets every right-hander out, doesn't get lefties out. Jake Westbrook batting .174, but putting the fear in the White Sox.
Take 1, take 2, maybe 3.
Not a bad idea. Even when there are times when you're a pitcher and you know a guy's taking, you can't throw a strike.
Here's a 3-0 pitch. There it is, 3-1. The animated Tim Cheetah, crew chief, is behind home plate calling balls and strikes.
Floyd used to have, and still has a good fastball, a great curveball. Sometimes he started falling in love with a cutter. And I know that's what Alan Craig hit, and I'm not too sure. I think it's also what Freese hit. Sometimes when you have a cutter, which Don Cooper, the pitch coach, taught him, it takes away from some of your other pitches.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. Westbrook gets a piece.
You got to swing there, but it looked like he might have swung at ball 4. You got to protect the plate. I'm sure if he was not given the take on strike 1 and 2, he was smart enough to know.
Chambers off with a pitch from first. Another 3-2. It's taken low. Back-to-back walks. And this would be the perfect time for Cal to get out of his rut.
Sure will. Brzezinski out to talk to him. There, the aforementioned Don Cooper. He's been around a long time. I think he said 25 years in the White Sox organization, the last 10 as the pitching coach. I was talking to him yesterday and became very quick that, that cutter is a pitch he's taught a lot of the pitchers.
There's a couple things he said to me, Al, that I know you'll agree with. Number one, he says, I can't stand pitch counts, talking about Don Cooper.
Him.
When do you ever hear that?
Hallelujah.
And he said, I view myself as a psychologist. He said, that's really how I feel.
You know what? I don't know if I've ever really heard that, but I firmly believe that that is a characteristic for managers, coaches.
Working from the windup with the bases loaded for Cal. A swing and a miss.
Of course, I need a psychiatrist.
Hey.
Not the psychologist.
Whatever would help you get over the hump with whatever you dealt with is what we all needed.
What makes you think I'll ever get over it? That's what we're talking about, the differential of lefties and righties.
0-2.
And for Cal, who's been so good this year until this little recent slump, 0 for his 20, he must think it's like 0 for 200. And all he's got to do, like we talked about with Zipchinski and Mott, just have one good outing, one good swing, and he'll feel like he's right back there.
Bases loaded. 2 outs and an 0-2 pitch. For Cal, puts it in play. Slowly hit to the right side. Wide throw, and Konerko is still on the bag. And the third and final out. Cardinals pick up an RBI from David Freese, and it's 1-0. StLouis.com. Right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. And find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit SteelDealers.com. Gorgeous night for baseball. The Cardinals have a 1-0 lead as we move to the top of the third. First time in 5 games that Westbrook has made a start in his last 5 that he has not allowed a run in the first inning. 6 up, 6 down. He's got Ramirez, Hudson, and Floyd.
Best part about it, 5 of the 6 outs have been ground balls.
Ramirez showing bunt. Takes a pitch inside for ball 1.
Yeah, Aparicio showed up. Hall of Fame shortstop.
For Ramirez, this is his natural spot at short. He's played all over the diamond for the White Sox in his 5-year career.
When you're a sinker ball pitcher, you become a 5th infielder when you release the ball. And you've got to have good hands and be able to field your position. And Westbrook has done that very well. It's been a long time since, you get so many ground balls like that, you get so many chances, and you can see he's very quick of foot.
Orlando Hudson, switch hitting third baseman, takes a strike. You go back to the first game in this series, the Cardinals got good starting pitching from Adam Wainwright. That score was not indicative of how well he pitched. And last night, Lance Lynn is at strike 2.
Well, the starting pitching has been very good. Yeah, in the last 5 games, that's this homestand. Cardinals are 2-3, but the starting pitching has a 1.64 ERA. So they've been doing their job. That's only second to Texas, who is 0.80.
Got him to reach. Ground ball. 2 down, and it brings in Floyd. Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. To learn more, visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Who's got the better hat? Taken low by Floyd, who pitched out of a jam in the bottom of the second.
Can I pass on either one?
Yes, you can.
And I like the little guys. That's better.
What if Tim Cheetah's ever thrown out his back? That emphatic strike call, especially those third strikes. Nice lid. Descalso, Holiday, and Craig coming up. Friday tomorrow. Former pitching coach Dave Duncan tomorrow at 6:30 will be featured on the pregame show. Baseball history last night with Matt Cain. Last 5 perfect games. Just over 20 all-time in Major League Baseball, but you see 5 have appeared since July 23rd of 2009.
There's 22 in Major League history. And this is the first year that there's ever 2 in 1 year.
Al, I talked to a scout before the game, and I asked him, I said, why do you think we're seeing so many of these games go late with the chance at a no-hitter or the perfect games that we've seen? And he had 2 reasons. He thinks that starting pitching is as good as it's ever been. Power pitchers, guys that throw harder than they used to, say even back 10 years ago. But I thought the most interesting part of the answer was he felt that the swinging late innings of the approach of hitters has completely changed. You don't see guys choking up with 2 strikes. You don't see them trying to put the ball in play. It's more just swinging for the home run, and in his opinion, more of an individualized swing instead of worrying about the team.
Right, and it's a great point. And just think about now how rare it is to get a complete game, let alone to have a no-hitter or a perfect game. But as a team, if you were being no-hit late in the ball game, you would do every little thing. Now, there was kind of a no-no. You couldn't drop down a bunt, but you would change your hitting approach.
Off of Floyd, and Descalso has a base hit.
As you said, you would choke up. You would try to do anything. Even guys like, how about a guy like Rico Cardi, who was about 6'4" and about 220. There you see that it's like now the little cutter coming in there, and off the body of the pitcher. No chance for Beckham, and the Cardinals have another leadoff hit. But Rico Cardi was a big power guy until he got 2 strikes, and then he acted like he was 150 pounds wringing wet and just tried to punch the ball really to the opposite field, stay on a pitch longer, and just try and defeat you that way. He took that approach anytime he had 2 strikes.
Holiday waves at the first pitch for strike 1.
I've always said that Reggie Jackson's Hall of Famer, but his greatest contribution is he glorified the strikeout. See, there is a good breaking ball, a good slider there. That's the one that Don Cooper's trying to teach him, and other than the one that's flat and stays just in the zone. Another good one.
They had Umber, who threw a perfect game against Seattle earlier this year, and A.J. Brzezinski missed out on Mark Burley's perfect game. He did catch the no-hitter, and he said it was the most nervous he's ever been in baseball. This is a guy, Brzezinski, that's been part of a World Series championship, and Buster Posey said the same thing last night. He said you feel one with the pitcher. You know, you want it so badly for him to know that you have a chance at history. And for Umber's perfect game, it was Brendan Ryan at the plate arguing the third strike.
We all saw that, and I mean, it wouldn't have been a perfect game because the ball had gone all the way back to the screen, and he did commit on it, but it was just a horrible swing approach to it. And then he sat and argued and forgot to run as they tracked it down and then threw him out at first base.
And AJ was saying that there was nothing else that they were going to go with. It was the slider all the way, and that's what's given Philip Umber some success this year.
Now, Brzezinski is one of 2 active catchers to catch multiple no-hitters. He had Oliva.
Could be a double play. 6-4-3. Scalzo going hard into Beckham at second base. Clean baseball.
VPs have played a role in this series here. A little underhand feed. Cardinals as a collective group go very hard into second base. Very clean, but the intent is that we want to disrupt that throw. You don't want to just make it easy, so you go after that pivot man at second base, but you always have to stay within arm's reach of second base. Otherwise, they could call the runner out or the batter out automatically.
Here's Craig, and extra bases again. A 2-out double, and he has a pair of doubles in this ball game.
Just inside the bag. Hudson, who is a multiple Gold Glove winner at second base, now playing third for the first time in his career. Still trying to make adjustments, but he was well off the line. Great effort. Just not going to catch it from where he was positioned. Can they do it again?
Yeah, back-to-back doubles in the second inning. Freese picked up his 41st RBI.
David didn't have, I don't think he had a hit on this homestand until Sunday. He picked up 2 more on Tuesday, 1 last night, and then 1 again here. So let's see if he can go on one of his torrid streaks.
Cutter may be just the right pitch for Freese to go to right with again.
Let him off with a change up there.
Big gap in left center. High fly ball. Right center at the track, at the wall. It's gone. It's all David Freese tonight. David 3, Chicago nothing.
It wasn't the slider this time. It was the fastball. And really a pitch down in the zone.
With that home run hit by David Freese, another $15,000 has been raised to support prostate cancer research. You can make a donation. Call 800-798-CURE. As Molina grounds to short. But some fireworks here at the ballpark. David Freese with an RBI double back in the second. And a 2-out, 2-run shot for Freese, number 13. RBIs 42 and 43. 3-zip St. Louis.
There's already a Schnucks difference, isn't it?
The difference maker
The
so
difference
far.
maker. Wow. Great pitching.
First time through the lineup, we saw a number of ground balls. Matter of fact, 8 of the 9 outs recorded via the ground ball.
That's when you know Westbrook is on his game.
Trying to drop down a bunt. Freeze tested. Bare hands throws to first, and he got him. What a play by David Freeze.
No doubt about that, boy. Have a night, David. Comes in there. Speedy runner, just a do-or-die play. Drops down what appears to be a perfect bunt. He's playing in, but has to make a tremendous and strong and accurate throwing arm with on the run. And you can see Westbrook appreciates that. Bang, bang play at first, but he was clearly out.
Here's a fly ball into center. Chambers makes the catch. Quickly 2 down. The offensive stars so far tonight, Allen Craig, David Freeze in this lineup. 4 and 5 for Mike Matheny, and they have produced.
Well, it's fun to see. And when you have all the injuries the Cardinals have, and then you have Beltran, who's got the stomach virus, you know, you got to dig down deep. Say, what more can I do? And that's basically what Mike Matheny challenged the club with. Put the shift on, and wasn't Adam Dunn perfect? Very accommodating. Hit a nice little ground ball to Descalzo playing short right.
Bill Finley's got to make sure and manicure that grass now when Dunn's here. Don't worry about the dirt, but on the right side, worry about the grass for Descalzo.
He's playing right at the base of the arch, or in the arch.
You would think there'd be no way to get one past Matt Adams on the glove side.
No. When you're guarding the line, I do not like your first baseman, who is right-handed, so his glove is on the line, to be able to catch every foul ball. I think you could still stay on the line and be a step or two off. But we do know Adam hits the ball quite hard.
The next to Adam Dunn. Count runs full. The 32-year-old out of Texas, second-round pick by the Reds back in 1998. 6'6", 285 pounds, and in high school and in college he was a quarterback. And this time he strikes out. ...2006 All-Star game. And a look over in the American League as David Ortiz, the DH, has had Another fine start to his season for the Boston Red Sox. It's always so much fun to watch, especially on TV with the different camera angles that Fox provides. They'll mic up many of the players. You'll get the in-game interviews. So certainly a unique look at the game of baseball, and that's July 10th.
Every player dreams about participating in it, and it counts. And boy, thank you. Last year, Prince Fielder gave the Cardinals the home field advantage they needed.
For a while, the game seemed to lose its luster, but because of this one counts, I think it's added a little bit to the game, no doubt. And as you mentioned, Al, the Cardinals and the fan base very thankful that home field advantage was awarded to the National League. Game 7, most important game of the year, right here in this ballpark.
Major League Baseball did a little bit to lose the luster. And what I say by that, by eliminating the league presidents, because the league presidents used to come in and kind of a fiery speech, and you really took pride in defeating the other league. And now with just the umbrella of Major League Baseball, you've kind of lost that someone to come in there and tell you, and then it kind of got to the point where the managers were very concerned in getting every player in the game. And then you kind of had that situation that they ran into in the tie in Milwaukee, where you ran out of players, ran out of pitchers.
There's Adrian Chambers, who gets a start in center field, showing bunt, and looks at a strike.
It was, teams did not, the leagues did not like each other. So you wanted to win that ball game, and managers went with their best players, and some of them wouldn't actually play the entire game. It wasn't about getting everybody into it.
0-2. Westbrook on deck. Matt Carpenter begins his rehab assignment. We know that Skip Schumacher watched the pregame, saw a little video on him in center field as Chambers will plead his case that he got a piece of it. Did not. He strikes out. And that's strikeout number 4 for Gavin Floyd. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and glad you're with us on Fox Sports Midwest, your home of Cardinals baseball. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski, Jim Hayes is with us as well. Westbrook has been terrific thus far tonight. David Freese with a double, home run, and he has picked up all 3 ribbies. I was talking with Matt Carpenter, Al, the other day about the transition, which Chambers and Adams and some of these young players are finding out about going from AAA to the big leagues. And he says, as far as the at-bats are concerned, so what I found is you get 1 pitch to hit, maybe, per at-bat. And if you get it, you better hit it, because these guys at this level, these pitchers, are so good that if you fall behind, they can carve you up very quickly.
And it's a mental game, too, for a lot of the younger players. They're looking over their shoulder. They're worried about their individual stats. And when they go into a little slump, they probably worry about it so much that they prolong it. Whoa. Should be a breaking ball that just didn't break for him, and right up around the noggin of Westbrook.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Jake Westbrook.
And a happy feet up there, Westbrook, after that ball that was a total accident up and in. He was bailing on the outside pitch.
The 3-2, and he walks him again. Second time that Jake has drawn a walk. Third walk issued by Gavin Floyd. Cardinals and Fox Sports Midwest, they have teamed up and will present Mizzou Day, June 30th. All Tiger fans invited to take advantage of the special ticket prices. There'll be a pregame pep rally. Mizzou Spirit teams will be here. Cardinals.com/Mizzou Day for more information.
Can't believe they're playing behind him. Stolen base threat.
Just don't respect that speed, huh? Prakal is 0 for 2. He is struck out and grounded out. Grounded out with the bases loaded. Cardinals as a team, I mentioned before, they come in first in average in the National League. They're first in home runs and second in RBIs at the start of play tonight.
So the people that are panicking and think this offense can't hit, this team still is at the top of many categories. Mark McGuire, who's Aldretti as assistant last year, John Mabry this year. Very, very sound approaches to hitting. And just think about the job that McGuire and Mabry did talking with Matt Carpenter. Told him, hey, you've always hit for a high average, but you've never drove the ball. And up here, you're going to have to. Uh-oh, he almost took off on him. But, you know, you're going to up here, Matt Carpenter's he's going to have to play multiple positions, which we've seen him, corner outfielders, first and third. And he's going to have to, you know, drive the ball, which they did in spring training. And he was very receptive to it and did a good job of learning.
One ball and 2 strikes.
I'm ready for Call to break out of this little 0 for 21 right here.
Instead, he strikes out.
I'm still ready.
I know. 5 strikeouts for Gavin Floyd on the night. That sends us to the 5th. Get yours by purchasing tickets at Cardinals.com. Pooch is in the park this weekend. The Matheny pennant giveaway as well. And if you go to Cardinals.com, you'll see dynamic pricing for the 4-game series upcoming against the Rockies beginning of July. We've got box seats as low as $23. Also a Father's Day bonus in there as well. Take a look at the front page of Cardinals.com.
And the Cardinals gotten off to a slow start in interleague play this year. They have the 3rd best record overall in the National League in interleague play over the 15 years, but they win this game, then they're 3-3, then they take on the Kansas City Royals home and away. And you'd like to think that you could have another very fine season, beat up on the American League a little bit. Cleveland looked pretty good over the weekend playing against the Cardinals, and must have been a different team that showed up in Cincinnati, huh?
Yeah, they were outscored 24-9 in that series with the Reds, and Cincinnati picks up 3 wins in the sweep. You know, we had the feature on the possibility of Konerko being a player manager. That was right before our first pitch. Most recently, Pete Rose was in that conversation, Paul Molitor, even a guy like Barry Larkin of the Reds. And you saw it with Joe Torre.
Yeah, Joe was with the Cardinals, then traded to the Mets, became a player manager there, and then he retired as a player and took over full-time managerial duty. But it was funny, I was telling you that later Joe got fired by the Mets, and one of the main complaints, they said, well, you were too close to your players. And I'm going, well, wait a minute, you're going from teammates to now now you're their manager and you're too close to them. Well, then that was down in Atlanta when Joe took over.
Fly ball into right, and it drops in for the first hit for Chicago off the bat of Konerko.
And Dan, if you look at this swing, this is what a little bit we're talking about, shorten up your stroke. A team would do late in a no-hit bid, that Konerko, who leads the major leagues in average, comes out here, ball away, and look at that swing. Just risked it, just went out there and made sure he just made contact. And that's what good hitters would do. Choke up, hit the ball the opposite field, but they would change their approach, and that was a good example of it.
Now Alex Rios. Cardinals have consistently in this series pitched him to the outside corner and trying to get him to pull the ball and do it on the ground. And the Cardinals right now are one back of the Phillies as far as double plays turned in the National League.
And you said last year he got pull conscious, so he rolled over on a lot of balls, set up away again.
There's your ground ball. And how about a double play? 4-6. Bam. 3.
Most of the time trying to pull that ball, you'd hit a ground ball to the shortstop, the third base side. But here he kind of went with the pitch a little bit, and just a perfectly hard hit. And that's part of the equation for a DP. It has to be hit firm enough that it gets there quick enough for the infielders to turn it.
So the Cardinals with 61 double plays turned. A.J. Pierzynski, 2 outs and nobody on. He homered in game 1 of the series. And Kenny Williams, in doing his due diligence on the players that he brings into Chicago, said he had made more calls about signing Pierzynski than any other player he's ever looked at. Ever. Past the diving freeze and into left.
And part of what you're talking about is just a recent poll came out, poll by the players, that Pierzynski won by 34%, the most hated player in baseball. And there's another good piece of hitting.
And you know what, Al? He could care less.
Oh, yeah. And that's, I mean, remember Jeff Kent, who was a great player, but a lot of people,
motorcycles.
Yeah, but a lot of people, wouldn't think of him in that category because he made a statement, I entered this game with no friends and I want to leave it with no friends.
Here's Alexi Ramirez and a pitch that's up and backing up. Freeze. Force play at second. We are midway through 5. Descalso, Holiday, Craig coming up. Redbirds on top. Cardinals.com/promotions. That'll be out in the Ford Plaza. Always nice to have Whitey here at the ballpark. Rarely, if ever, does he miss an inning of Cardinals baseball. He's either here at the ballpark or watching on television.
Still sharp as can be, and I would think a lot of general managers, like you say, Kenny Williams, would probably make a call to Whitey Herzog and get some very valuable information, even the current players.
One of the great things about coming to St. Louis, and we hear from the opposing teams all the time about this, but the chance to shake hands and say hello to Red Shandies, who was instrumental for Tony La Russa in his transition to the National League. Tony will tell you that. And one of the first calls from Mike Matheny was to Red Shandies when it was announced that he'd be the manager.
Got a chance to personally offer my condolences to Red on the loss of one of his grandsons. And Red is just a great institution, a very proud man, and what a tremendous family, the Shandies family. And that was just, it's tough enough, you don't want to see any of your children pass away, let alone grandkids.
Descalso with a base hit into right. Red on a cell phone.
Seeing that technology reminds me of, you can't comprehend how small the visitors clubhouse was at Wrigley Field, because since you've been involved, they've remodeled it, I think, 3 times, and
it's tiny now.
And it's very tiny now. But
here's Holiday.
Such high tech when hair dryers came in vogue. One time we were in the bathroom in the Wrigley Field. Red moved out of the way so somebody could plug in a hair dryer, and burnt his derriere on a radiator.
Red did.
Red, it was so furious.
Could only imagine. I'm sure he was none too pleased about that.
I mean, there was no separate dressing room for the manager or coaches. They had like 3 or 4 nozzles in the shower, and they put the old whirlpool in the shower.
Well, here's one of the World Series heroes from a year ago, Alan Craig. Caught the final out of the World Series and burst onto the national scene with that performance he put together, the playoffs, and in particular with the World Series. And I was talking with him tonight, Al, before the game, and he said that this play changed his life. His number was retired at his high school in California, but he said he ran in with John Jay here. You'll see that. And immediately after they hugged, the ball went to his back pocket. And he felt that he needed to give it to Jason Mott. Mott took it right away to go get it authenticated. And so the next day they find out that Tony La Russa is going to retire. And Craig gave the ball to Tony La Russa. And so Tony apparently has it. And I asked him, I said, is that for sure? He said, I'm not sure yet. He said, maybe Tony's holding that thing for ARF. Who knows? But we don't know where the final out of the World Series ball is located. But at last check, according to Alan Craig, it's in the possession of Tony La Russa.
I would think Tony would have boxes upon boxes after 16 years here in St. Louis of memorabilia, artifacts, just memories. So I'm sure it's in a good spot. But
these are the kind of things you got to think about with the historic events. What happens with those baseballs, and any ball, by the way, during regular season play that is hit, doesn't matter if it's a foul ball or not. If it stays on the field, it heads right to the dugout, and there are retired police officers down there that will authenticate the ball for Major League Baseball. So if it's a special event, you're here for a birthday, or someone gets engaged at the ballpark, whatever the case may be, They can go to the team's website and find out about the baseball that was put in play at that particular time, the inning, whatever the case may be. It's authenticated down to that. 3-1 the count here on Alan Craig. And you didn't know that, did you?
Well, I knew the authenticator was down there, only because I saw him recently and understood what he was doing, putting the labels on it, but to that extent, no.
Working very hard, working up a sweat. Here's David Freese. He's had quite the night with the 3 RBIs and a double, 2-run homer, and a terrific play to take a hit away from Diaza.
David has really been streaky, and the bullpen is active right now, riding a lefty up.
Pickoff play, and back in safely is Descalso.
Had a nice little play right there. They had the second baseman kind of go to like he was going to sneak in behind, and then when he retreated back to his position, that was the signal for the shortstop to kind of come in and receive the throw from the pitcher.
1 out, 2 on. Outside to David Freese. It's 2 pitchers tonight, 2 starters that are searching for traction this season. And there's no doubt about it that both are probably on a short leash tonight. They've got 3 lefties in their bullpen, and 1 is getting loose right now for the White Sox.
Ullman, and then the righty is Stewart. Floyd, last 4 seasons, been in double figures in wins. Very capable.
Another pickoff play.
Second baseman starts in and everything, and then when he retreats, the shortstop will cover.
1 ball, 1 strike. They really like Ramirez at shortstop. He is 6'2", lanky, and they say a terrific athlete. Matter of fact, he began his major league career playing center field for the White Sox and signed at the recommendation of Jose Contreras, Cuban defector.
Things I noticed about him kind of shocked me. He's got 5 grand slams. Shortstop.
Robin Ventura knows a thing or two about that. He had 18 of them. And the other day, A-Rod tied Lou Gehrig. Yeah, with 23. Held up 2-2. Cardinals hope they can keep Beltran on the bench tonight, dealing with a stomach virus. He is available to pinch hit if need be. Ooh, he hung that and got away with it.
Yeah.
David Freese, big night, and this is early on following the double by Alan Craig. Back-to-back doubles in the second inning. Craig would do it again with a double. And then Freese, how many times have we seen that? Opposite field, right center home run.
His 13th of the year. RBIs up to 43.
The 2-2 pitch. Freese again out to center field. To the track, at the wall, and it's caught. And Descalso not tagging up.
Descalso was more than halfway, and when the catch was made, he had no chance to get back and tag up.
Here's Yadier Molina. Alan, visiting with Jose Oquendo today about Molina. I said, what is it about him right now? And you know him as well as anybody. that's gotten him to this level. And he said, look, it's pretty easy. Everybody talks about his defense. They know how great he is defensively. He said, but right now, in our opinion, meaning all the coaches, he's the best catcher in baseball because of a simple thing. He's keeping it simple with his stance. He's not changing his stance like we've seen so many times in the past handful of seasons. And Mike Matheny has seen a big difference when that took place in 2004. The front leg is up to keep his weight back and his hands stay back. And Big Mac was talking about the ability to go to right and a contact hitter.
And the other aspect, by not changing everything, he's confident. You know, he feels that he's in a good spot, so he expects to be a good and productive hitter.
Taps one slowly towards third. Tough play here. Hudson safe. Canerco's off the bag. And the bases are loaded. An infield hit for Yadier Molina.
I don't know about you, Dan, but
why'd he come off the bag?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe not knowing Yadi's running, but it appeared that it was a good enough throw that don't worry about the runner at third. If you stay on the bag, it's the third out. We'll get a better look from right here. Sort of a swinging bunt. The converted third baseman from second base to third, and I think he had a better shot to just try and stretch out and keep your foot on the bag. It's Ventura out. We have not seen the call of the bullpen, and looks like we're maybe not going to get one or wait for the umpires.
Interesting here not to go with the lefty in what could be the game on the line right here, even though it's midway through. But you've got potential of a huge at bat from Matt Adams.
Well, I think what Ventura wanted to make that message come for him, come from the manager, that this is your last batter. It should be, and with 2 outs, the base is loaded. If you get him out, it's your last batter this inning, and that's what he tried to emphasize. But if you want to stay in this game, you have to get this hitter.
Working from the windup, Adams has not seen anything straight. First 2 at bats in which he struck out, it's been all sliders from Gavin Floyd.
They really haven't been into that bullpen very often, but Floyd is a scheduled second hitter. This is the key at bat.
Redbirds with 7 base hits. White Sox with 2. A 3-run lead for St. Louis.
For a guy that had one of the best curveballs in all of baseball and advertises best curveball in the American League, he doesn't throw it very often. He's fallen in love way too much with the slider or cutter. There it is again.
2 balls and 2 strikes. This is what we talk about, Al, with that transition from minor league baseball to the big leagues. The ability, as you see, Adams won for his last 14, but the ability anytime in the count game situation to throw an off-speed pitch like right here.
Change up, and then it used to be, in my mind, the biggest difference used to be between A ball and double A. If you could go to double A and succeed there, everything just got a little bit more refined, but that was the big difference. Now it definitely is the AAA with the major leagues.
3-2 pitch. Adams rips it out to right center. It gets down. 2 runs will score. They'll hold up the runner at third. Matt Adams delivers. It's 5-0 St. Louis.
Once again, running into a full count with the bases loaded. Any base hit's going to score at least 2 runs, and he's lucky he didn't score 3. But nice going, Matt Adams. His last 2 hits have both been 2-run singles. 3-2 pitch. It gets a cutter, but it's up, out over the plate, and he just laces it out to center field. And the knockout blow.
Runners at first and third. Pitching change. We'll tell you about that when we come back. 5-0 St. Louis. A Chevy called to the pen. Royals, Cal Loesch, 6-1. What's on tap against Kansas City tomorrow night will come your way. Rick and Al at 6:30. A 5-0 lead for St. Louis. We're in the bottom of the fifth. 2 down. Runners at first and third. And here's Adrian Chambers. It's one of those spots, Al, where you could have seen Robin Ventura go to the lefty. Would make sense. Lefty-lefty matchup. And Adams did not have great numbers against lefties in the minor leagues this year, but also then you look at the fact that he's won for his last 14 and 2 strikeouts against Gavin Floyd and trying to squeeze one more out from him.
And I think also you've got a starter that's in a downward spiral and you're trying to give him back on track, give him some confidence. But you bring in the 34-year-old veteran Will Ullman, who we've seen a lot in the throughout baseball. Started with the National League, Atlanta, the Dodgers, Baltimore, Florida, White Sox last year, and got off to a slow start this year, but has pitched very well and always tough on left-handed batters. .34 years old, out of Pepperdine University, and was born in Frankfurt, Germany. I think probably an Army brat.
Pitch that's up and hit into center. And it's caught by Diaza. Westbrook back to work when we come back with a 5-run lead. Technology Network, AT&T, rethink possible. By O'Charlie's, 2 for $20. 1 appetizer, 2 entrees, just $20 only at O'Charlie's. And by Ford, the official vehicles of the St. Louis Cardinals. $5-0 St. Louis. Our friend Tony West with that shot. We're in the top of the 6th. It'll be Hudson, the pitcher spot, and then Diaza.
I think it's Lillibridge would be the pinch hitter.
Sliding grab by Chambers.
Adrian still really learning, very green outfielder, but that'll help making that little play, getting a good jump on the ball, coming in, making the sliding catch. As you said, Matt Carpenter went out on assignment today, rehab. Schumacher was 1 for 2 and threw out a runner trying to go from second to third in the game last night for Memphis. Didn't play the whole game, but hopefully we'll see those guys before the weekend. By start of the road trip, maybe. Lillibridge.
Trying to fit that name on the back of the jersey. Pirates are down by 6 late in their game. Cardinals up by 5. 2 teams could be tied after tonight's play. Mentioned the Reds recorded a sweep over Cleveland, outscoring them 24-9 in that series.
Cardinals must win to stay 3 back. It's definitely within striking distance.
Cardinals had their first-round pick in attendance on the field before the game tonight. Michael Wacha, big right-hander from Texas A&M. His mom and dad both here. Michael being re-engaged with the group that selected him.
And he has officially signed.
My understanding. Fly ball into right. Catch made by Craig. You know, they put those kids, Al, as you well know, through so many tests, whether it be written tests, visiting with them, watching them in workouts, game film. Ball slicing on Craig and sinking just a bit for the second out.
Wasn't like that when I was around.
Grabowski, here you go, huh?
That's it.
Here's Diaza with 2 down.
Even saw the letter that the George Sylvie from the scouting department sent to me when I was drafted by the Cardinals, and name was misspelled.
Highly thought of there, Al.
That's right.
1 ball, 1 strike, and Westbrook 12 ground ball outs. And that's what stands out when you think about Jake tonight. 1-1 pitch. Another liner on a pitch that was up, and that one will drop in for a hit. 2 hops to Holiday. And Diaz is aboard and brings in Gordon Beckham.
He is pitching here in the 6th inning, but you could just tell when he gets that ball up and they start hitting the ball in the air and the line drives, you know, you just have to keep an eye on him. When he signed with the Cardinals, I thought his reputation, sinker ball pitcher, pitch to contact, everything was just absolutely perfect to be a winning player here. And the first year he just didn't get any run support. And this is what you kind of expect to see, this type of outing from him. 14 out of 20 batters he's faced, he threw a first pitch strike. That's why it's kind of an enigma why he struggled.
Beckham base hit into right. Very important bat now with Dunn coming up, and one swing of the bat, they're right back in the game.
See how the third time through, and that's where we are right now. And you would think that that would be a sign. You don't see guys throw complete games anymore, so as they go into the ball game, you would expect the batting average to rise.
So here you go with Dunn, runners at first and second. The shift is on. Dunn tonight has grounded out to second with Descalso in shallow right, and was called out on strikes, a pitch that caught the outside corner. Dunn hits it a ton out to center, and the White Sox are back in this game. Adam Dunn, a rocket, and home run number 22. It is certainly all or nothing with Adam Dunn.
Well,
with that home run, $15,000 is raised for the home run challenge to fight prostate cancer. 800-798-CURE or PCF.org if you'd like to donate. You know, Adam Dunn is currently on pace for 54 home runs, close to 130 driven in, 250 strikeouts. But then he'll also walk 130 times and give you 100 runs. So you look at that and you say, so what about the average? Because he can do this.
Well, it's all about production. And now, without Hamilton hitting a home run, he would be tied for the major league lead in home runs with 22 with Josh Hamilton. Last year he only hit 11. And 51% of the time he didn't put the ball in play. You know, it was a strikeout or a walk. And he had 177 strikeouts a year ago. And a 169 average.
And he was asked, what did you do differently this offseason? He said, not much. He said, for the first time, essentially, I took batting practice off of former minor league pitchers. And he said, that was something I just wanted to do just to have fun. Here's a ground ball hit to short. And he did not go back and look at videotape. He said, why would I want to look at that? With Dunn, one swing of the bat gets Chicago on the board. And it's 5-3. Stars, and they'll battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. It's the road to the World Series and the All-Star Game on July 10th, 6:30 only on Fox. Last year, 177 strikeouts, only 66 hits, and the first player ever with 100 or more strikeouts than hits. That's what Dunn did last year. First time that ever happened. And now, as you mentioned, Al, he is at 22 home runs and 50 RBIs.
And Westbrook is out of this game as Robinson will pinch hit for him. Zach Stewart, new pitcher, he was involved in the Edward Jackson deal, going from Toronto to the White Sox.
And a ground ball that's hit to second. Chevy called with a pen, and it's the right-hander Stewart. 67 pitches, by the way, for Jake Westbrook. That's it, 67. There's Sanchez, and we have not seen Eduardo Sanchez since the 7th of this month. So it's been a week.
And once again, 67 pitches. And not saying he lost it quickly, but there's 3 straight hits there and 3-run home run.
Kyle has struck out twice and grounded out. He's 0 for 3. Ground ball that's hit to third. Hudson there. 2 away. Brings in Descalso.
Stewart was originally signed by Cincinnati. Descalso, a couple base hits, 2 for 3. Game just cruising along, and then all of a sudden now we got a ball game. Over his last 7 appearances has a 9 ERA, 11 earned runs at 11 innings. On the year has a pitching ERA of 18 on the road.
It's tapped foul, and it's 2-2 here on Descalso with nobody on and 2 down. We'll see Kansas City here tomorrow. It'll be Kyle Loesch and Ben Mazzaro, 6:30. And then Joe Kelly and Adam Wainwright will pitch Saturday and Sunday.
6 out of the next 9 games will be Kansas City. Play them over the weekend, then go to Detroit after an off day on Monday, and then go to another long road trip. Go to Kansas City next weekend before going to Miami.
It'll be a very tough road trip. So much was expected of Detroit with the signing of fielder Cabrera. You have those two back-to-back. Verlander pitched today at Wrigley Field, and then you have a Kansas City team at home, which historically has always been a fun series for the fans, and they seem to get up for it. And then Miami, who's played very well. Konerko couldn't come up with it, and that will extend the inning.
Should be his first error of the year. See, by his mannerisms, he thinks he should have made the play. Was hit hard, but right to the glove side. Stayed down. Ball came up a little bit, hit him in the thumb area, and rightfully an error.
Well, Holiday's about due, isn't he?
Yes, he is. That's been sitting on 10 home runs for a while.
Outfield is deep in the 1-0. Make it 2 balls and no strikes. Kansas City, by the way, 7 games back in the American League Central behind Chicago. Actually, they've been a better road team than they have at home. 10-20 at home. 2 games above 500 on the road. Beckham will flip to short and a forced play. Sends us to the 7th inning. We'll see the bullpen of St. Louis when we come back. Who led the National League in home runs at the All-Star break the past 2 seasons. Berkman had 24 last year. The year before that, it was done in Votto. Lance Berkman has meant so much to this team, and in a short period of time, he has made such an impression on the organization that John Mozeliak, the event the other day, Al, as you're going to look at Sanchez, I had the chance to MC. He said, well, if it does work out to bring Lance back next year, put it this way, he has an open invite to join us at any point in time, to be a coach, scout, assistant, whatever the case may be. But he knows baseball, he knows people, and he's made that kind of impression with this team. And
when we saw him in Houston, he wanted to work with his doctor and the rehab coordinator a little bit longer, at least another week, but it was his intention to get here as quick as possible and be that kind of vocal leader that Mike Matheny has talked about. You know, when you think about Carpenter and Berkman and Skip Schumacher, 3 really core players and real leaders of this ball club, and they're not with you. That's a big void. You know, you've got solid coaching and manager here that are great leaders in their own right, but it helps to have some of those players. You can kind of trick managers and coaches, but you can't trick your teammates. And a teammate can go to you and kind of get a point across that it's hard to say no.
Alex Rios leads it off, and let's see how sharp Sanchez can be. Long layoff, and that'll help. First pitch popped up. Descalso has got it. Good to see that Joe McEwing is back in St. Louis, third base coach, who, by the way, did interview for the Cardinals spot. And Joe, we had a chance to see him in his career in St. Louis back in the late 90s. And I asked him about the nickname of Super Joe the other day. I said, all right, set the record straight. How did that come about? And he said, one of the best teammates I ever had was right here in St. Louis, Eric Davis. And every time he would see Joe McEwing, he said, did you take it home with you? Meaning, did you take the wins, the losses, the good, the bad? And he said, yes, I did, because he just loves baseball. And he said, well, you're unbelievable because you're better than me. You're Super Joe. So that's how you have Super Joe McEwing, and it stuck.
It's kind of a fine line, you know, because everybody cares. But a lot of times you have to leave everything good and bad at the ballpark.
And that was
your
the
own
point
sanity.
Yeah,
right.
That was the point of Eric Davis.
And I think Eric's pays a tribute to him, but it's also it's very hard to kind of live with your last at bat for 24 hours and worry about it. You know, where you somehow, some way, you got to think positive when you leave the park.
We were talking about rookie managers and having maybe a support system with your coaching staff around you. McEwing is one of those guys. George Kissel was highly influential in his career and what he's doing now even.
And Joe was managing their AAA team.
And Joe said he had the Bible of baseball in his mind, which was a book put together by George Kissel, and he had lunch with George's grandson down in Tampa before the season, and he said you wouldn't believe some of the things that are written in this book that George had of different plays in baseball, how to handle situations. He said it's absolutely amazing.
I knew about the book, but I've never seen a copy of it.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Fly ball, shallow left. On the other side at first base, you have a guy that has a statue in his honor outside U.S. Cellular Park, and that's Harold Baines, the 6-time All-Star, great player in his own right.
I think he has to be one of Tony's favorites all time.
Oh, yeah. Here's Ramirez, who's 0 for 2. You say when the weather heats up, this guy heats up. From Cuba, notoriously slow starter. Cold months beginning of the season in Chicago, and he's hit by a pitch. That'll bring the tying run to the plate.
Obviously, it's not what you want to do. In a 2-run ball game, do you want to hit anybody right on the hip? And trust me, that might have helped a little bit because it hit the belt, and because there's not much padding on that body, is there?
Not at all. Long and lanky, huh? Here's Hudson.
Orlando Hudson hitting under 200. Remember, he was released by San Diego.
It's to the backstop, and Ramirez advancing to second.
Those last 2 pitches are what you were talking about with the 7-day layoff that you worry about a little bit, but you got the first 2 outs, and so all of a sudden you say, well, maybe he's going to be okay, but you hit a batter, and now you totally missed Molina. Looks like he was crossed up too.
And now you hear Mike Matheny spring training talk about Sanchez, the best swing and miss stuff, and then a fan says, why does he make the team? Well, this is why, because at times he lacks control and consistency inside the strike zone.
Yeah, and it's a little strange that he hasn't pitched in a week, because he picked up a hold. Well, his last 3 outings have picked up 3 holds on that road trip, and then this is his first time on the homestand we've seen him.
1-0 pitch.
But he does have electric stuff. Mid-90s fastball. He's got a swing and miss breaking ball. And the only thing he lacks is just a little consistency, and like you say, not throwing strikes at times.
Freeze giving chase, out of play. One thing Hudson brings to the table outside of a tremendous glove is charisma. A lot of fun. Pulled foul, 2-2.
Orlando Hudson would be the direct opposite of A.J. Brzezinski. What he's perceived by his peers in baseball, one of the most popular players. Hudson had a big hit in the first game of this series.
Full count. Runner at second base in a 3-2 pitch, and he walked him. So Sanchez gets the first two, then he hits Ramirez, walks Hudson, and you're asking for trouble here. Dion Viciedo. And that may be it for Sanchez as Marte is getting loose. And that'll be it. Marte coming in. Key spot in the ballgame, 5-3. St. Louis on top. Presented by AT. First 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home the Beltran adult jersey. It's listed as an adult jersey, and now it is a Carlos Beltran jersey. That weekend also has been added that Sunday, Kids Bat Day and Yadier Molina Bat Day on the Sunday. And right in between it is Christian Day here at the ballpark. Victor Marte appearing for the 28th time, and clearly Mike is not trusting Eduardo Sanchez in this spot, and I'm not sure he can, so he's got to go with Marte.
Right, and this is the role they like from Marte. They like him to come into an inning, clean it up, get him out of a jam. He's inherited 17 previous runners. Only 3 have scored. And they also feel that he's very capable of retiring left-handed batters. So whether they come in and pinch hit, you know, it's not a big deal.
Cardinals have Freeman getting loose. Dion Viciedo. 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. That pitch at 95 from Marte.
Well, Marte's got that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. It's pretty straight, and his breaking ball is showing some good movement. Viciedo has really struggled of late. Great May, but he's had his troubles in in June.
Fly ball, right field. Craig wants it. He's got it. Time to stretch. Good work by Marte. First recap, and the Cardinals have a lead of 5-3 in the bottom of the 7th. David Freese, the big night with 3 RBIs. Dunn, a 3-run homer. Westbrook, pitch count very low, but gives the Cardinals 6 innings, 5 hits, and 3 earned runs. 2/3 of an inning by Sanchez. Then Marte gets the final out. Sends us to the home half of the 7th, and Alan Craig, who's had a big night, will lead it off. Craig has been on base 3 times.
Scored 3 runs, 2 hits and a walk. Perfect night. A lot of that is because he's been running home on David Freese's production. But he's got a tough customer right here. And White Sox dip into their bullpen again and bring out the right-hander Jesse Crain. And Crain is first batter average 118. And the opponent's average overall is 176. Owns a 135 ERA in his last 14 outings, 13 of which have been scoreless. Right-handers are 3 for 38, 0.79 this season, the lowest mark in baseball by a reliever.
Some guys, they talk about that trigger mechanism being their foot. For Craig, it's his wrist and his hands. And some players also talk about when they're bouncing around defensively at different positions, it carries over to what they do at the plate. And Allen told me he's never had that issue. It doesn't bother him one bit where he plays. And he gives this club a lot of versatility. Right field, left field, third base. We've seen him at second a year ago and a lot of first.
When he first came on the scene at the big league level, he would really point that bat as a pitcher, you know, really cock it towards the pitcher. It's not as dramatic now. And many people believe he'd never be able to turn on inside fastballs. But we've seen that even on pitches that are up and in, that he can turn on those pitches.
And he said he actually, will start the bat going forward a little quicker than you may think he is.
Exactly.
The top of the bat pointed towards second base or the pitcher. It just gets everything going in the direction that he wants. Count is full. It's 3-2. 5-3 St. Louis here in the bottom of the 7th. Nice play made by a fan right below us.
See, this year in road games, no ERA, and since he joined Chicago, and that was last year, he has a 1.01 ERA on the road. 4 earned runs and 35 and 2 innings.
Shallow right, long way to go. Beckham in foul territory making the catch. White Sox, it'll be a late night for them. They travel to the West Coast. They'll get Clayton Kershaw tomorrow. Welcome to the West Coast.
You pick up 2 hours, but their body won't know it.
Schnook's difference maker, David Freese. Freese with an RBI double in the second. 2-run homer in the third, and hit one to the wall with 2 runners on back in the 5th.
Cardinals had a 5-0 lead in this ball game.
Freese, a liner into right. Another hard hit ball off his bat. Catch is made. Big crowd here tonight. 43,464. 43464. StubHub. Find the seats you want to the games you want to see, whether it be here at Busch Stadium or on the road. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your world champion Cardinals. Molina, an infield hit back in the 5th. Twice he's grounded out to short.
Crane listed at 6'1", 215, and almost has that catcher throwing, where he cocks the ball right behind the ear and a little hesitation, very much a short armor. Looks like Jason Mott, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
And it looks like he's built like a catcher, too.
Reminds me of our guest on the cat fight last night, Cliff Polite, too.
A little bit, yeah. Talking about StubHub and last night I had such a good time. I didn't use StubHub, but I got 40 tickets for an upcoming game in the Champions Club.
Over at the UMB Champions Club.
UMB Champions Club. I had such a great time. Why not buy some tickets there? And I'll be working the game. I won't even be able to use one of those seats.
Two and two.
Maybe Nicky will invite you for a going away party.
Wouldn't that be something? 2-2 pitch upstairs. Three-two to Yachty.
Yachty hitting .324. Catching every day. Doing a great job behind the plate. Battling right here.
And a walk. Good at bat.
Shouldn't surprise you, should it?
Matt Adams with a base hit that scored 2 with the bases loaded. Robin Ventura back in the 5th inning. Had a lefty getting loose. Could have faced Adams. Stayed with his starter. Move did not pay off.
One of those moves that I think it was just more of a confidence builder, trying to get Gavin Floyd, one of his reliable starters, get him back on track. He struggled about his last 6 starts and tried to do it, but maybe it'll cost him a game.
And on the hands of Adams
is the difference in this ball game right now.
Seeing that primarily these pitchers, Al, have gone with breaking balls and soft with Matt Adams, as opposed to some of those fastballs he was knocking all over the place.
Well, it doesn't take long for it to get around to the advanced scouts, and you'll see guy might have a weakness now, and you try to exploit it.
That's Molina running, and he is safe. Stolen base for Yachty as Ramirez has a smile on his face.
That's number 6. Leads all catchers in steals with 6. And you pick your spot. You steal it off the pitcher, obviously. Kaczynski makes a strong throw, but it's a little bit high, and he slides underneath the tag. He won't be happy about that.
Runner at second base, the 1-1. Taken high.
And I've seen a lot of hitters that can hit fastballs. They have trouble with breaking balls, but they see so many that eventually they become a pretty good breaking ball hitter. And Adams is going to have to make that adjustment here at this level.
A short lead at second base and a 2-1 pitch. High fly ball. Right center sends us to the 8th. The UMB Champions Club, if you missed it last night, look inside the club as we head to break here on Fox Sports Midwest. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. We go to our studio. Jim Hayes is standing by with a Bommarito Sports Update. Jimmy? All right, Jim, thanks. And Marte got out of the jam last inning with 2 runners on. Victor Marte pitching here in the 8th inning.
Well, we talked about how Mike Matheny likes him to clean up an inning, and he also feels that he has the ability to retire left-handed batters. And we'll see if it's validated. He had Sam Freeman, the young lefty, warming up, but chose to stick with the veteran Marte. Boggs and Freeman are throwing in the bullpen for the Cardinals. Thornton throwing for the White Sox.
Took something off that pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Big guy with a lot of motion coming at it, so he can sell that breaking ball. There you see the Cardinal pin.
Ground ball right side, taken there easily. Matt Adams for the first out.
So important. You get that first out, and you're on your way to a successful inning. Things get a little precarious when you don't.
Gordon Beckham, 1 for 3.
Dunn trying to get a good view and see what looks like facing Marte.
It's a foul ball. Dunn with a rocket. The grass in center field. 3-run homer to get the White Sox back in it. We also saw him homer in game 1 off the lefty Zipchinski. No balls and 2 strikes with 1 down here. Beckham has a single and a run scored back in the 6th inning, trying to get him to chase. They peel. It's called a ball.
It's talking to Dunn, first game of the series, and talking about his numbers and career worst 11 home runs. The 169 batting average, and just kind of shrugged his shoulders, and no rhyme or reason. He didn't have to prove to me he got his power back, though.
First home run of the series was high towering blast off the lefty Zipchinski. As far as he hit it was about as high as he hit it too, over the bullpen in right. And then tonight more of a line drive homer. This one in the center. That one a 3-run shot.
Had a 3-2 slider from Zipchinski. It didn't do anything. And then last night he threw a sinker. He hit down on it, hit the ground ball double play, which was key. And the 8th inning, got the shift on again.
Remember, he had the amazing stat of over 1,000 plate appearances without a sac fly. For a guy that hits it in the air and hits
it in the air
home runs
right.
deep, just doesn't make any sense.
It didn't. And I think the best thing he did is he didn't worry about it. You know, something like that drive me nuts.
He's averaging a home run every 10 at bats this year. You see from that first row view of our camera, again, Hamilton, glove side. It'd be very, very tough to get one by him. Guarding the line, and with the shift on, you've got Descalso in shallow right, so Adams very close there to the line.
And then on the other side, we're not quite guarding the third baseline.
Lays down a bunt, and that would, you would think, be a for sure hit.
But he's not going to lay down a bunt, and it would be a for sure hit.
3-2. played behind Major Applewhite at Texas. Chris Sims is coming in, and that trio battling to be the starting QB at Texas. Walked him. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And Boggs will be coming in this game.
For the White Sox. Beautiful night here in the Gateway City as Boggs coming into the ball game to relieve Marte. It gets Paul Konerko, who was up at a key spot last night, Al, and bounced into a game-ending double play.
And here's a guy that just was great with runners in scoring position, so he didn't not do the job. And Mitchell Boggs is going to try and make it 2 in a row of keeping Konerko from doing delivering an RBI. Just like we talked about with Mott and Zepchinski, Mitchell Boggs gets a chance to redeem himself after giving up a 2-run home run in the 8th inning of game 1 of this series. And he's done a really good job of stranding inherited runners. And Danks has pinch run again like he has in all 3 games now of the series.
Konerko has grounded out to third, singled, second time up, and also grounded to short. Oh, 1 pitch.
It's Jordan Danks at first base, an outfielder, and he is a threat to run.
His brother is a pitcher on the White Sox staff. Hurt right now, may pitch over the weekend.
And Jordan ranked the last couple of years as their best defensive outfielder.
One ball and 2 strikes.
Konerko checking to see if it didn't break that bat. It looked like he got a pitch in the inner part of the plate that he could do something with it, and just fouled it off.
Popped him up. For Kyle wants it. He's got it. Nice work by Mitchell Boggs. for the White Sox. And a reminder that Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Live Mas. Lefty Thornton takes over. Again, they have 3 out there in their bullpen.
Thornton is #1 in appearance in the American League with his 32nd appearance. And if you go back over his last 23 games in interleague play, he is not allowed an earned run during that time.
1 pitch and 1 away. Chambers retired.
The White Sox have won 11 consecutive interleague play series. And here we go. Green will pinch hit for Boggs. He did his job.
Jason Mott has been getting loose in the bullpen. You know, Mott says he does not cuss. And you wonder what he's saying, though, inside that hat when he's screaming like he was in the double play to end the game.
I said, make it, turn it. But he has said that for years, that he does not cuss, but he does talk to his alter ego.
So Mott bounced back from a tough outing on Sunday. 12th save of the year. Didn't come easy, but he got the double play. Back to Thornton. Underhands again for the 2nd time. And there's 2 outs.
Check on him. There's Herm. He's a trainer. I can't call him by his last name because he's lost half a body. Long-time trainer. You see him right there behind Joe McEwing, who very well respected. Everybody likes him, but he's lost a lot of weight since I last saw him. 2
down, and for Cowell. There it is. Base hit into right. Boy, he needed that.
He was 0 for 23, longest slump of the season, and now he can start a big, long winning streak, or hit streak, and team winning streak.
Descalso 2 for 4. Third baseman playing in. Holiday is on deck. You know, Mike Matheny was even saying today that he wants to give Kyle a day off or 2, but just can't figure out the exact time to do it. Didn't feel like it tonight, clearly.
And a lot of times, you know, when a guy is slumping like for Kyle, he was 0 for 19 coming in, you don't want to take him out then. You'd almost rather have him get a couple hits and then take him out just to show confidence in him. You have players that can play shortstop, but it's obvious this club gels when he is getting on base and playing his superior defense.
Game-saving play late last night. The diving stop resulted in not an out, but saved a run.
Set up the first and third situation where Mott could get the double play. He doesn't make that stop in the infield, and there was a tie game.
The 1-1. Instead, they pick off for Kyle. Well, he got the base hit. And we head to the ninth. 1-3-6 on that play. Mott coming in. The ninth inning. Let's take a look at our Nissan drive of the game and David's home run, a 2-run shot. This followed the RBI double that he had first time up. Freeze's home run in the third. His 13th of the year. He's now driven in 43. That's our Nissan drive of the game. Here's Mott trying to close out another save tonight.
Jason has nailed down 4 saves in the last 5 appearances.
Cardinal starters have given them 6 out of the past 7 quality starts, and now they turn it over to the bullpen after, as far as the numbers of pitches, very short outing in that regard for Jake Westbrook, but bullpen has done the job so far. Now they're asking Mott to get the final 3 outs. Alex Rios, first pitch, misses outside. It was a cutter that got Konerko to, I'm not going to say he did go, so it's a strike on Rios. Wow. And a gift for the Cardinals, but it was a cutter that got Konerko to bounce into the game-ending double play last night.
That'll help.
Fly ball, shallow right center. Chambers is there for out number 1. Make sure you stay with us. It's Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live at the postgame show coming up. Hope to visit with David Freeze. You'll hear from Mike Matheny, Alan Craig, many of the players coming up.
Mott's thrown 3 straight games, but you kind of get the feeling that that doesn't faze him a bit. A former catcher, you know, you're kind of used to throwing every day, and it is a little different pitching, but trying to figure out what the delay is. Change bats maybe. Now Robin Ventura come out of the dugout.
And he's trying to figure out what to. And I'm wondering if Rios was upset with the strike call and had words for Tim Cheatham as he went back in the dugout. And if he's hearing it maybe from the dugout.
Or maybe somebody was thrown out. Maybe because now Ventura wants to talk to the first base umpire, Jeff Nelson, who made the appeal call. And all this maybe just trying to disrupt Mott. Oh, he's getting an explanation now. Mott will start throwing a little bit to keep loose.
And I'm assuming that it's this pitch right here, the check swing, that then was ruled.
Oh, he went around.
Strike, and he was shocked at that. Rios was. His reaction following that replay you saw. You know the little things that A.J. Pierzynski does, like when if he makes an out, he'll run over the pitcher's mound back to the
That's a no-no.
dugout. That drives pitchers crazy. And when Mott was just throwing there to stay loose, he was edging closer to the batter's box as Ventura was talking to the umpire.
Wide.
Budweiser player of the game, it's Matt Adams with a 2-run single with the bases loaded in the 5th.
That's the difference of the ball game. As early in the game it was David Freeze's heroics.
Cardinals trying to pick up win number 33 on the year.
Move into a tie for second place, 3 games back.
0-1 pitch. Can't catch up. And it's out of play. White Sox down to their final strike. Reminder, Kansas City in town tomorrow, on the air at 6:30 as this crowd 43,000 plus on their feet. The 0-2. Check swing, and he held up.
100 triple digits on that last delivery.
One-two pitch, ground ball. They should do it. After dropping the first game, the Cardinals come back and win the next two over the White Sox. The save from Mott. 5-3 the final tonight.
Best road team in the American League, and we stopped them.
Home run challenge, 2 home runs hit. 30,000 has been raised in our game tonight for prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can call 800-798-CURE. PCF.org if you'd like to donate online.
Good ball game from the Cardinals standpoint. Very good pitching by Westbrook. He stops his 4-game losing streak. David Freese and the offense supplied 5 runs and key hits.
Redbirds pick up the win. They're now 33-31, 5-3 the final. Stay with us. The postgame show, Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, is next.